2026 is going to see a lot of changes in the world dart rankings within the PDC. Part of that's going to be down to the fact that the prize money is changing, the prize money is going up, which means those players that have got to defend a lot of prize money are not only defending money, but they're defending money against people that could be gaining more. This could be the flip side though. This could be players that are defending a big chunk of money who can defend it a lot easier because how the rankings work now moving forward. So it could be taken both ways. But what we're going to do today is we're going to highlight those players that could be in a little bit of danger. And what we're looking for is those players that are defending more than 50% of their prize money or a significant amount, who maybe are not in the form that you'd imagine they will do that. Let's start in the top four. Let's start with Michael van Gerwen, multiple-time world champion. He's going to be defending £477,000. That is 69% of his prize pot, currently on 691,000. Which includes £100,000 when the World Match Play comes around in July, £200,000 when the darts returns to the Alexandra Palace for the next instalment of the World Darts Championships, and also 2 European Tour titles, to name amongst many other bits of prize money Michael van Gerwen is going to have on the line in 2026. I think we see Michael van Gerwen come outside the world's top 4. There's also a world here where Michael van Gerwen could drop down to be around about the bottom end of the top 16 should the year go very similar to how last year went. Worrying times for Michael van Gerwen. Mike de Decker. Now, there's always going to be a risk. We saw it with Nathan Aspinall this year when he was in the World Match Play after winning that a few years ago. When you have a big title on your rankings, a couple of years later, you know it's going to come off. So you need to make it count with consistency across the board. Last year, 2025, wasn't a consistent year for Mike de Decker, and this year could cause some problems. He's not inside the world's top 16. He's now position 19 in the rankings, which means he's not going to get seeded positions. He's going to have to rely on things like the Pro Tour Order of Merit to get himself in the big events. And right now he's on the bubble of the top 16 positions. So worrying times here for Mike de Decker in regards to what events he'll get in and how he will do so. 64.7% of his prize money up for grabs, which is £120,000 at the World Grand Prix. He's also got stuff like the Grand Slam to come off, pretty much in all the majors, and a Pro Tour title. £267,000 in total to come off the Order of Merit for Mike de Decker, which could see him slip down quite significantly when you look at the players below him. Could even come outside the world's top 32. But as we know now, there's not really any benefits or perks for being inside the world's top 32. Now the World Championships have dropped to the top 40. So the top 32 is kind of an old way of looking at it. We now look at the top 40, which you'd imagine Mike de Decker would be in. You'd imagine Rob Cross would be in there as well, wouldn't you? But he's in trouble. Dangerous times for Rob Cross this year. 212,000 of his £389,000 is up for grabs. So the world number 20 now, Rob Cross, 54.5% of his prize money. That's a lot to go on the line. And then when we look at the year he's had, he played better at the World Championship, didn't he? He really gave Luke Littler a challenge. But when we look at some of his other games throughout the year, it was a bit more concerning. Certainly in performances like at the Players' Championships at Minehead may have been due to the cold, but the technical side wasn't there. We know the technique of Rob Cross has broken down before, and when that happened, we saw a significant reduction in performance and results. And we've seen that again throughout the year. What Rob Cross do we get? I think he's got to work extremely hard over the break period now. We know from Rob Cross, when he won the World Championship, when he was practicing, when he was going through his routines, when he was doing everything correctly, he can hit an incredible ceiling. But I do feel with Rob Cross that it has to be all in line. Everything has to be right. So be interesting to see how things go. Danger here that he goes outside the 32. Dimitri Bergh. I made a comment that we potentially could see a world where Dimitri Bergh loses his tour card. Now, I did mean across 2 years. That's what I meant originally. But it could be over 1. And if Dimitri Bergh didn't have that run at the start of last year when they moved the World Masters to a ranking tournament, we could see Dimitri Bergh lose his card this year. He had a horrid last year, and that was with some invitations, things like getting in the World Championships off the back of his previous rankings. The seeding position in the UK Open. Now already down to world number 25, and he's defending a lot of money. 260,000, 78% of his prize money. Some of that will come at the UK Open when he'll be defending the prize money from that. The World Grand Prix, the World Match Play, a Players' Championship. So all year, he's going to have big chunks coming off of his rankings. And I almost feel like this is very replicating of Jose de Souza, of somebody who has big chunks coming off, and all you see is that. And Dimitri can be looking over his shoulder. The psychological fact here. And Dimitri Bergh went to the World Championship after trying and preparing and giving it his all. And for the first time, he didn't get a result. All year, Dimitri Bergh hasn't been great. But he can openly sit there in a minute and say, I didn't really try my best. I didn't put the effort in. So you'd always got that go-to. But when you put the effort in and you don't get the result, that can also affect as well. Certainly when you're looking over your shoulder a lot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dimitri Bergh right at the bottom end of the 64 if he stays in it this year. Needs to really step it up quite significantly, coming from a position of non-seeding, and also would have to qualify for everything. He's in big, big trouble. Big trouble. Richie Edhouse could find himself in a bit of trouble as well. £251,000, exactly the same as what we were saying earlier with Mike Dedeker. He only earned £72,000 last year, and that is with the perks and the benefits that he had from that ranking position of the European Championship. 77% of his prize money up for grabs next year. Could be in a spot of bother if he doesn't step it up. We could see him drop back down to where he was before, around about that 50 to 60 sort of mark. Better than that, but not showing it right now. Martin Luitman followed Richie Edhouse into the near winners enclosure at the Grand Slam of Darts, didn't he? He had that good run, played Luke Littler in the final. 67% of his prize money is going to be up for grabs, that Grand Slam final coming off. £152,000. It doesn't leave too much change left over when you take £152,000 off the order of merit for Martin Luitman, which will see him drop significantly down the rankings and again down towards that 64 position. Obviously, everyone on this list has got a great opportunity to defend their prize money. How the rankings work, as we know, you've got what you earned 2 years ago, you got the chance to defend. And with the increase in prize money, it's going to be easier to defend that money. So it should be easier to protect the position for 1 year only. After that, that prize money will start to sink in and set in across the board. So if you're going to have a bad year, I mean, Nathan Aspinall may benefit from this quite significantly. If he has a good year, he could jump quite up the rankings. I will be doing that video as well, where we're going to be looking at players who are hitting some good form, who don't really have to defend too much. All you've got to do is hit the subscribe button and I'll point you in the direction of potential ranking movers throughout the year. Also, I want to know who you're keeping an eye on, whether that's due to their ranking position, what they're defending, or the fact that the form line is not there. I'll be updating this throughout the year, after every major tournament, and anything you may need to know. You just hit the subscribe, I will get you through the year. Catch you soon.